Welcome, viewer, to our terrifying Tales from Quaint Towns, a trio of horror stories. In the tapestry of small-town life, an eerie charm weaves itself into the very fabric of these quaint communities. Hidden behind the welcoming smiles and the scenic landscapes is a shadowy world where secrets and dark histories linger. These towns, with their unassuming nature, hold tales that unsettle the soul, inviting curiosity and fear in equal measure. At the edge of one such town, an abandoned house stands as a silent sentinel to forgotten stories. Its neglected appearance and overgrown path suggest a retreat in haste, leaving behind a mystery that cloaks the structure in an aura of intrigue. This house, once a home, now serves as a monument to questions left unanswered. The locals, those guardians of the town's lore, whisper of the family that once resided within its walls. Their sudden disappearance feeds the rumor mill, with talks of a dark past that led to their vanishing. These whispers paint a picture of turmoil and secrets, casting a shadow over the house's already ominous presence. A group of teenagers, fueled by a mix of bravery and naivety, decide to confront the legends head-on. Dismissing the old tales as mere superstitions, they venture into the house, eager to uncover the truth. Little do they realize, the stories that have been passed down might hold more truth than they ever imagined. Inside, the air is thick with the weight of untold stories. They stumble upon unsettling photographs and belongings scattered about, as if the occupants left in a sudden rush. These remnants of a life once lived evoke a sense of urgency and fear, hinting at the dark secrets that the house guards. As night enveloped the abandoned house, a symphony of eerie sounds began to play. The teenagers, once buoyed by a sense of adventure, now felt the weight of isolation and fear pressing in. Each creak and whisper through the desolate rooms seemed to be communicating something unspeakable from the shadows. In the dim light, fleeting glimpses of a shadowy figure sent chills down their spines. It appeared at the edge of their vision, a formless specter that vanished when confronted directly. This unsettling presence suggested they were not alone, adding a palpable tension to the already thick air of mystery. The discovery of a hidden basement marked a turning point in their exploration. The walls, adorned with strange symbols, hinted at sinister rituals that may have taken place there. The air felt heavier, charged with an energy that suggested the teenagers had stumbled upon something ancient and malevolent. Panic set in as they attempted to flee, only to find the house's layout had inexplicably changed. Corridors that led to freedom before now circled back on themselves, trapping them within its walls. The realization that the house was alive, reshaping its form to keep them inside, sparked a desperate search for an escape. As they separated in their frantic search, each teenager was confronted by manifestations of their deepest fears. These personal horrors, tailored to exploit their vulnerabilities, picked them off one by one. The house, it seemed, was feeding on their terror, using it as a tool to isolate and overwhelm them. Amid the chaos of the cursed house, one teenager emerges, breathless and alone. With wide, terrified eyes, they whisper of shadowy figures that spoke in hushed tones, revealing the town's darkest secrets. These whispers, like venom, spread through their mind, revealing truths too horrifying to comprehend, yet impossible to ignore. The house, with its suffocating walls and shifting corridors, remained silent after that night. It stood as a sinister beacon, its silence a challenge to the curious and a warning to the wary. Yet the secrets it harbored were now partly exposed, whispered on the wind for those daring to listen. In a different part of town, the mundane routine of the local library was disrupted by an ancient book, unmarked and forgotten, found in the donation bin. Its leather cover, worn by time, concealed stories that mirrored the town's tragic past. As the librarian flipped through its pages, a sense of unease grew. With each story read from the mysterious book, the town was plagued by strange occurrences. It was as if the tragic tales leapt from the pages, breathing life into long-forgotten sorrows. The librarian, puzzled and increasingly alarmed, could not shake the feeling that these stories were more than mere fiction. Driven by a growing sense of dread, the librarian delved into the town's history, uncovering a chilling pattern of unexplained disappearances. It became clear that the book did not merely recount the past, it foretold future tragedies. This realization set the librarian on a desperate path to prevent the next story from unfolding in reality. In the quiet corners of the librarian uncovers a chilling connection between the unmarked book and a series of long-forgotten disappearances in the town. Every page turned seems to echo the silent screams of the past, drawing her deeper into a mystery that has been hidden in plain sight. As she delves into the historical records, a terrifying pattern emerges. The book, with its ancient binding and cryptic tales, doesn't just recount the town's tragedies, it predicts them. Each story mirrors a real-life event, casting a shadow of dread over what might happen next. Fueled by a desperate need to prevent another tragedy, the librarian races against time. The town's quiet streets and secretive glances now seem ominous, as if the very air whispers warnings. She must unravel the book's mysteries before another tale leaps from its pages into reality. Her investigation leads her to confront the author of the book, a revelation that chills her to the bone. The spirit of a writer scorned by the town, seeking vengeance through the pages of a book that binds the living and the dead, a spectral figure that writes in sorrow and anger. The showdown is a battle of wits and wills, as the librarian uses her knowledge of the town's history to challenge the spirit. It's a fight not just for the future, but for the soul of the town. In the end, she manages to prevent the final story from unfolding, but the victory comes at a great personal cost. In a daring confrontation, the librarian faced the vengeful spirit, author of the ominous book. The air crackled with tension, as both parties engaged in a mental chess match. The librarian, armed with knowledge and cunning, navigated the perilous battle of wits, determined to thwart the spirit's sinister agenda. The victory came at a steep price. To sever the cycle of tragedies, the librarians sacrificed something dear, a part of themselves perhaps too precious. This act of bravery and loss broke the haunting chain of events, setting free the future of the town from the grip of predestined sorrow. As mysteriously as it appeared, the book vanished into thin air, leaving behind a community teetering on the edge of belief and skepticism. Questions lingered among the townsfolk, who now eyed the line between legend and reality with newfound wariness, pondering the truths that might hide beneath the surface of their daily lives. Peace returned to the town, a fragile serenity that masked the deep scars left by the ordeal. The librarian, forever altered, carried the burden of their sacrifice silently. Their life had irrevocably changed, marked by the knowledge of the darkness that lurked close, too close, and the price paid to keep it at bay. Join us for our third and final tale about a new family, oblivious to the town's recent turmoil, moved into the small community, greeted by smiles that perhaps hid more than goodwill. Their arrival marked the beginning of another story, one that hinted at the cyclical nature of secrets and the relentless pull of the town's shadowy past. In a seemingly tranquil town, the family's son discovered an ancient, worn doll buried in their new garden. This peculiar find, though initially met with delight, sparked an unsettling shift. The doll, with its faded features and eerie aura, became an inseparable companion to the boy, its history unknown to them. The town's reaction to the doll was immediate and visceral. Neighbors, once warm and welcoming, turned cold, their eyes filled with fear whenever the doll was near. Urgent whispers and stern warnings to destroy the doll circulated, hinting at a dark past intertwined with the town's history, yet the family hesitated, puzzled by the intensity of the townsfolk's fear. As the days passed, a series of unexplainable misfortunes befell the town and the family. Accidents and ill luck that seemed too coincidental to ignore were whispered to be the doll's doing. The son's attachment to the doll only grew stronger, defying his family's and neighbors' growing apprehension and pleas. The family's quest for answers uncovered a chilling link between the doll and a witch's curse that plagued the town's history. Tales of sorrow and vengeance tied to the doll emerged, casting a shadow over their home. The realization dawned that their find was not merely a toy, but a vessel for malice, aimed at resurrecting a long-forgotten curse. In a desperate attempt to sever the ties that bound the doll to their lives, the family tried to rid themselves of it. Yet each attempt was met with failure. The doll always returned, its presence more menacing. The curse, once a whisper of the past, now threatened to engulf the town in darkness, demanding action before it consumed them all. The family, desperate to rid themselves of the cursed doll, tried every method imaginable. They burned it, buried it, and even threw it into the river. But each time it returned to their doorstep, more menacing than before. Its resilience seemed to mock their efforts, a grim reminder of the curse's grip. As the curse's intensity grew, the town was plunged into darkness. Unnatural shadows crept along the streets, and misfortune befell those who had once lived in peace. The family realized they were not just fighting for their own safety, but for the town's very soul, as the witch's vengeful spirit sought to consume all. In a climactic confrontation, the family faced the witch's spirit, armed with nothing but their resolve and a desperate hope to break the curse. The battle was fierce, pushing them to their limits. It was a test of wills, where failure meant not just their doom, but the town's eternal damnation. Barely escaping with their lives, the family watched as the town slowly began to recover from its nightmare. The curse was lifted, but the scars remained. They left the town, seeking a fresh start, leaving behind a community that would forever whisper tales of the cursed doll and the darkness it brought. The doll was finally buried deep underground, in a place where, hopefully, it could never harm anyone again. The town slowly returned to its peaceful ways, but the memory of the curse lingered. As the conclusion of this tale reminds us, small towns may seem tranquil, but they often harbor secrets that are not easily forgotten. In the heart of tranquility, where whispers of the past intertwine with the rustle of leaves, lies a stark warning. The quietest corners of our world harbor the most deafening secrets. As we peer into the serene facade of small towns, we're invited to question the shadows, where the loudest screams of forgotten tales and hidden sins echo, reminding us that beneath the surface of calm, a tempest of untold stories awaits to be uncovered. This brings us to the end of our trilogy for this evening. We hope you have enjoyed our tales. If you would like to see more of our horror stories, please like and subscribe to our channel to enjoy more terror tales. For now, sleep well, viewer, and we hope to see you next time.